welcome back. The last press conference for today. It was another English opening clash between Levon Aronian and Veselin Topalov. Same, by the way, as in the first round. Still English opening, very popular onto this tournament. This particular game has ended in a draw. What can you say about the spirit of the battle?
The spirit was, quite what I hoped it would be, but then I spoiled it with some oversights, tactical oversights.
And what's your opinion?
Well, as usual, here I played horribly until some moment, and I got to it looked to me it was normal, but then I kind of underestimated after knight e4 that white gets a very comfortable more or less symmetrical position with the e-file.
Yeah, I thought you were forced to play queen f8.
I thought I should make a draw somehow, but apparently, or even d5 was probably better.
d5 is very risky.
Yeah, but probably it's
but
also
take queen f8 is the way to go. d5, bishop c5. Okay, black is worse, but it's not the end of the world.
But the problem of queen f8 is if you just go king g2, rook e1.
No, rook is only one.
Maybe just queen e3, doubling your pieces.
No, but
and
it's still better. It's still
even
just
this
better.
is somewhat very unpleasant, I believe.
Yeah,
Certainly, but he has d5. At least it's not.
d5 is not such a big relief. Still, d5 becomes also weak.
Yeah, you can just play a4 or something. Any move, I think, is better. So here suddenly it became very unpleasant, and then initially I thought that here I should have some counter chance with a4, but
I didn't think so. Yeah.
Apparently it's not good. And then somehow here it's just in big trouble. I think.
Yes, c5 was a very bad move, of course. It was an oversight.
But just queen f3 and it's technically.
Yeah, I forgot
lost.
that you can actually play
so here,
rook c8.
Yeah, rook c8 was my plan. Also, maybe here I had some, but there was some problem with playing f6 instead of d5. But here I thought f6 in order to play bishop d8 and king f7. But I think there was some problem there, and it looks like
trouble.
Ugly move. Yeah, that's true. But maybe the king is better.
Maybe even g4 at some point.
Yeah, but then, yeah, that is true. Exactly. So that was what I saw. So here, it's I think c5. Of course, still white is better, but I think Levon he just missed.
It was crazy.
I could just go play rook c. Rook c8 and now okay.
And especially bishop c7. Yeah.
Exactly.
Protecting pawn.
Exactly, because my chance is to give the pawn also, and I thought that some drawing chances in all kinds of positions, but even here
I made an oversight, and after I got
here I thought it's lost probably.
I got so frustrated.
But of course, rook f8 was very bad, and now it's equal. But I think you kind of tried even to lose.
No, I was just going berserk.
Because here, it's you're close. I thought
it's very silly to play a3 before. It's clear.
No, of course, yeah. But maybe I shouldn't have taken. Maybe a4 was better, but of course, this setup with the bishop on f2 is kind of holding.
Okay, when I'm up against the wall, I already defend, yeah?
So, yeah. Okay, it was not so brilliant game, but it's not my first bad game here, so for me it's normal.
So, what do you think? Why this English opening is so incredibly popular here? Like, today we saw 3 games began with c4 move, and also, by the way, don't you think that Petrosviller was waiting until you played this line and then repeated everything in his game against Nakamura?
I don't think so.
He was following him. You mean?
Who was following him?
I was following Peter.
Actually,
he's older.
So that's why he fought for 10 minutes in the opening after second move to interrupt you. Yeah.
Yes. He spoiled my plans.
But what was the difference between what I did and Hikaru?
Hikaru played something like rook e8, I think,
yeah, but
instead of queen e7.
The problem was I was afraid of that White's idea is to play let's say like a3, bishop c5, knight takes e5.
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah.
And then I just thought it was.
You have to take on e5. Have to take on c4, bc, bishop a7.
Yeah, okay, but it's the pawns are coming, and then
Yeah,
the
but
bishop.
And the computer actually is happy for black.
Ah, yeah, maybe.
But then after rook e8, bishop b2, bishop f5, here was the idea. So
That was
somehow
the
he
game.
protected from knight takes e5 in a different way. Like maybe now he can take, and I don't know. I mean, in case of a3,
Bishop
b3 becomes
c5?
bishop c5, knight e5. I think the difference is b3 is hanging sometimes.
No, but when?
I mean, knight takes e5, d4, bishop a7, let's say. D takes e5, d takes e5.
No, but the pawn on b. Ah, yeah.
Yeah, if
exactly,
you play a3 and bishop
yeah.
c5, if you
The,
provoke
the pawn,
a3.
exactly. The pawn is with the pawn on a2. I cannot do it.
But what if I take on d8 in that endgame?
Rook takes d8, maybe.
Bishop b7,
So rook b8. for
bishop
example.
c6,
Rook
rook e6.
e6. Yeah, it's
Maybe,
still-
yeah, maybe. But it. I
Okay,
mean,
it's
I
not so
somehow
clear.
didn't like queen e7, but I thought that was the only way to stop this idea. But again,
I think your
just.
plan was to play rook d8. Rook
No.
e8 was very surprising.
But again, I thought that, of course, it's something wrong here for what I did, because no, but rook d8, there was some problem that if you should just play e3.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
what I was planning.
That, for example, here I was afraid that white could just take,
Yeah,
and that's a very simple plan. So now white has a positional idea to take on c6 and play f3.
Maybe rook e6, I don't know.
But okay, let's say if I protect, then knight b1, and I just didn't like my position.
yeah, it's also possible.
Because
yes.
then you put the knight on c3, e3, and f4 is coming, and it looks very nice for white. And also the queen is very misplaced on e7.
Well, there are so many
By the way-
options in this position.
Yeah, by the way, also after knight c3, you don't have this knight e7 after knight d5. I think it's sort of
When?
in general, when you play queen e7, you don't
Exactly.
have this knight e7.
No, because I think if the queen is on d8, that it's kind of playable maybe. But let's say if with the rook on e8, somehow maybe I'm able to exchange the white square bishops. But now the knight goes to d5 with tempi and then f4, and I
Yes,
just
exactly.
think it's just huge, very easy for white to play. I think white should be much better.
So by the way, I was slightly surprised twice. You know, first when you played knight c3 to e2, I thought that knight on c3 is placed more or less okay, and this is just, you know, maybe some loss of it.
Actually, I also didn't like the move knight h4. It looked like a coffee move.
Okay.
But because it's a very cheap trick that if I jump, then he goes knight d5.
Maybe it's a bad move, but
No,
I
I
thought
mean,
it's
okay,
fine.
because let's say there were better options, probably just anymore a3, and it's not so easy. Or knight
But I allow you to play bishop e6.
maybe,
Which
but
I wanted to
bishop
stop.
e6, then I was afraid of something. Or maybe you just start with
Queen to d7.
maybe.
Maybe
But
after bishop e6 you can already play knight somewhere and knight d5.
somehow I didn't like
And
this move.
now it's not so
because
easy to take on d5.
here I thought that okay, more or less it should be.
I thought I'm
Almost-
slightly better. I mean,
Yeah, but okay.
honestly speaking, when a move,
First of all, maybe I don't have to.
Mhm.
Maybe I should just go to e7.
but generally when a move makes the queen from e7 go to d8, which came from d8, it generally cannot be such a bad move.
Okay,
I mean,
but
my
okay,
chess beliefs
it
tell
is
me.
true. But your knight is jumping from a4 to e2 and then back.
No, from c3 to e4 and then to c3 and
Exactly.
then back. Yes.
No, maybe actually I should go to e7 or c7 because now I was thinking that probably you jump, but maybe I even have d5.
Yes, you have this. No, I wasn't
So
planning
this
to play
was-
c5. I was planning to play
Yeah, but then
slowly.
my queen is much better, as you understand, no? Somehow I was very happy about the move queen c8 because I thought that next is bishop h3.
And what if I do the same?
Yeah, but then maybe, especially if my queen is on c7, then compared to the game, it should be better.
Yeah,
Of course, I
guess.
just take and play knight e4, and I don't think it's just a huge difference.
I also was curious if I really liked the idea of queen c8 because it's preparing.
Yeah, but then
preparing
knight
bishop
c3
h3.
is
But
quite
then you
strong.
didn't play bishop h3. I think you could
No, but
change
then
the
he
d5
position.
is
takes.
present.
he plays d5.
Yes, I mean, if we compare with the game, it's not so unpleasant.
No,
first
okay,
of
but
all.
d5 is annoying threat. I don't like it somehow
Uh-huh.
because my bishop is closed and somehow I didn't like it.
I thought you would go bishop g4, rook e1, bishop h3 here,
Yeah, but
and then
again,
d5, bishop c5. I can't.
Okay, but then you can take
First you take
some
on
knight
first you take the
a4.
d4.
Yeah, and change it. Maybe I don't know. That is true. Yeah,
That's
is
what
true.
I thought was.
That is true.
And
But no,
first-
I was so happy. I thought it was just equal, and in fact, it's very far from equal.
No, I mean, taking on d4 is nice, so
Should
probably
be
open.
kind of okay, and maybe
here,
just.
bishop h3 at this position, at this moment, bishop h3. So
Oh,
maybe
yeah,
it also
that is
faces
also
the same
true.
problem like d5.
That is true. Yeah.
but
But
still it's-
that is true. Yeah.
But how do you protect against d5?
well, I think maybe I just take, and then try to jump around. Maybe even queen f5.
D5.
I don't know.
d5 kind of looks annoying. I don't know.
Yes, anytime.
Unless you have some tactical reason for
Yeah, exactly.
going for this.
Okay, of course I can play bishop c5 and defend.
But there's knight a4.
Yeah, okay, but bishop b4 change. It shouldn't be.
But there is knight b6 coming every time.
Sometimes.
No. You mean that?
You can't really
Not
afford.
You know
that
that
line.
actually I saw some line which was very funny, but of course now I don't even remember it. Let me see. It was probably with the queen of c8 somehow, like d5.
No,
take,
but d5 here doesn't make much
knight
sense.
knight c3 maybe not. Yeah. Also, I was very close to play the move. He almost tricked me because I was very close to play g5.
Oh, I was really praying
And then
for that.
I almost played it, but then d4 is very strong.
But I can also come back with a knight.
No, okay, but then knight g6. No,
Sure.
no, but I think this is killing somehow, because
Yeah,
e4 is
this looks
d5, and
dangerous,
then
yes.
And what if be brave and play for d5 and take on d5 twice, for example?
Yeah, but okay, you understand.
Maybe then knight c3. Yeah.
You understand that with such a bishop,
Okay.
Generally, with such animal on b2.
Yeah, it's,
even if it's
even if you two pawns
rook down, you have to be
even the
careful.
rook,
Yeah.
Even the rook, yeah, true.
So no, but I really almost did it.
I actually didn't consider g5 at all.
But okay, if you move back and I put my knight, then I'm threatening d5.
Yeah,
no?
yeah, you're probably.
So it looks nice somehow. And you don't really have many useful moves.
Yeah, knight on g6 looks really good.
I think if I manage to do it, then it should
yeah,
be
you
okay.
might be alright. Yeah.
But also, I mean, I don't know, to play knight g6 looks not so nice maybe, but who knows, yeah, that somehow I didn't know that structure because, okay, d4,
Maybe.
e4, d5, this is always the problem.
Yeah.
Maybe even king h1 and then try to go for e4 and f4 later on.
Yeah, but
Or e4 and d4.
no, but I think I'm threatening d5. But this is the point.
b4 gives white really
Exactly,
nice
because
pull.
I think if I manage to play d5,
Mhm.
then I'm fine, but I'm not on time. So okay. No, but knight a5 should be completely normal, and now maybe queen c7 is better. So somehow here I was very happy about my position, but maybe too happy.
Yeah, maybe there is
No, I think you
a
should.
few drawbacks like pawn on a5 or
Of
bishop on
course,
a7.
no, but I
still-
believe you should push c5, and then it's very unclear.
Uh-huh.
But because that was the reason I played.
Yeah, I
queen
have
c8.
to say I haven't played my best. I mean, earlier on because
I believe
position
now-
looked very promising.
yeah.
After 27,
Yes, yes.
I was.
Especially this, I didn't like at all for me. I mean,
Maybe instead of bishop d7, where is rook a6 idea?
but then again,
Then like if bishop was just to play rook d8, knight d4, just to try to.
no, but knight d4 is e3. So
No, then bishop is on d7, then yes, but then rook is on a6 maybe, and another rook is on d8. Yeah, it's not so.
also
It doesn't guarantee you a good play, but then yes, it's.
no, but also
That's
sometimes
tradition.
bishop a3 is threatening the pawn, and then it's somehow knight a4, bishop a3. There are many tricks. So I just Also, I mean, when after knight d4 e3, where you go then? Because the pawn is hanging on e5 sometimes.
I won't rush with this move here. Okay, I play rook a6, rook d8, some.
And maybe stop the move. No, but I mean, if you play rook d8, again, I'm already threatening knight d5, and even here I could consider even the move e4. So it looks really, you know.
Well, if
Also, but for the moment,
yes, sure.
for the moment, the pawn is hanging. So
maybe bishop e6 already a huge mistake. Yeah.
Well, but then knight d5 again.
Yes, yeah. I mean the position is
it's two bishops, f4. I mean,
yes, it's relatively a fresh idea. I believe this knight a4. So it's
yeah.
and it appeared to
Somehow
be played.
I've looked at it, but of course I couldn't find anything.
You know, it was played in two games at the same moment. Yeah, such a twins.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.